All right, good morning, guys. How's everybody doing today? Quick sound check. Sound check 1, 2. Beautiful. All right. Well, we got a lot on our plates for today, so I'm excited about today. We've obviously got a pretty good range going so far in the overnight session, and I think we're going to tack onto that here today. What's up, Parker? Michael, how you guys doing this morning? I am in an exceptionally good mood today. Woke up, the wife had gone and got coffee. She made my favorite bagels, some bacon. It's a good morning so far. I'm happy about it. And I didn't even I mean I've been asking for the bagels for like I don't know, a couple weeks now. They're like my favorite bagels. They're like keto bagels, but they're made out of like mozzarella cheese. Oh man, smother them in butter. So good. Anyways, let's jump into today. So, we got a couple things to pay attention to here this morning. We've got 10 o'clock ISM numbers, and then the big one here is going to be at 2 o'clock and 2:30. We've got FOMC statement and federal funds rate, and an FOMC press conference at 2:30. What's up, Will? Morning, Monster. So, I think the big thing to take a look at here first is um, obviously we had Apple earnings last night. And you can see, so S&P's here up 0.23% on the day, Nasdaq up 0.58% on the day, Russell up 0.19, and Dow up 0.24%. So if we take a look at Apple here and drop this into a 5-minute chart and turn the extended session on here. So Apple closed right at about $200 here, and it's gapping up about $10 here this morning. So fairly good move, fairly decent move there in Apple, about 5% here in the stock going to be happening at the open. So we've got 210.75 by 210.79. Apple's already traded over 1 million shares on the day so far prior to the market opening. So much like yesterday with paying attention to Google in the morning, I think I'm going to do the same thing here today with Apple. So was watching Google yesterday here. Looked like we were going to get something going here at one point. Kind of ended up selling off again. Looked like we were going to get something going again. Kind of sold back off again. And it just kind of hung out pretty much sideways all day long. Within like a 12 or 14 point range there, which is fairly decent there for Google. So I'm going to pay attention to the same thing again here this morning when it comes to Apple. Now, we got a couple new levels we can draw in place here. One of the challenges we're going to face today is markets gapping, at least in the S&Ps here as I'm talking, into new all-time highs. So we're currently trading 55 quarters. Overnight highs here were 61 quarters. Lows were 52 50s. So we actually never traded these 51 50s. We have not pulled back, touched these highs prior to the morning so far, which is kind of interesting. But we've got a level in here, 29.50s. You can see we kind of took that out right at the end of the day yesterday. This is obviously in the last 15 minutes here when the market started moving, and we finally ended up trading up there and touching that. So I'm going to be paying attention to 29.50s here this morning on pullbacks. If we can get that kind of right off the open, we've sold off here about 4 points in the last 30 minutes, give or take here. So if we can kind of open somewhere up here, 29.55, and then sell off briefly here in the 29.50s, maybe that allows Apple to find some footing, and then we can step into the long side there in the S&Ps. Now, if we crack under 29.50s, longs are still good, but once we crack under 29.4375s, then that's going to be a problem for the S&Ps. If we crack under 29.4375s, then we pretty much got a straight shot back down here into 29.31s that we were watching for yesterday. So that's going to be the game plan for the S&Ps here. First small pullback, 29.50s, looking for longs. We crack 2950s, kind of let it subside here. As long as it doesn't crack under 2943.75s, we can be permitted to take long setups inside of this zone if there are divergence, small time frame uptrend, change of trend, something like that. So that's what we'll be paying attention to there in the S&Ps. Moving over here to the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq again, getting a nice gap up here. Something that's really interesting. Nasdaq overnight highs 78.6250s. We're currently 75.49s here. We're off these highs by a little bit, but we never got the 78.67.75s here last night. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark in a level 78.62.75s here. We got one tick off of that in the overnight session. We traded 78.6250s, and that ended up happening. You can see right here. That ended up happening once, 62.25s, twice again later at about 4 a.m., 78.6250s. So we've came up and tested that level essentially twice here so far this morning, and getting a little bit of a pullback off that level now. So where does that leave the Nasdaq? That leaves the Nasdaq at pullbacks anywhere north of 77.8550s on the day for long opportunities. So as long as we are somewhere inside of yesterday's close, north of that and north of 77.8550s here, then I'm fine with longs in the Nasdaq on either pullbacks, divergences, or the start of uptrends here. So the entries here are going to have to reveal themselves as we go today. The problem is we've got this big red bar here, and this came from the Google earnings. So really, really difficult to try and find any levels inside of this bar to give us a pullback where that's going to end up going. And that's why I'm going to use Apple today and also the other markets in conjunction with the Nasdaq. I do think the Nasdaq is going to get back up to this level here. I do think it's going to trade most likely through that level here, either today, maybe even into tomorrow, with Apple earnings, FOMC, all of that fun stuff we've got going on. So I definitely like the Nasdaq to the long side here. And again, if it cracks at 85.50s, then I am not married to the position. I will allow it to do its thing to the downside. All right, taking a look at the Russell. So Russell here gapping up essentially the least on the charts perspective at least. So we were unable to get back to yesterday's open here in the Russell. We almost made it in the Dow, but we definitely made it in the Nasdaq and in the S&Ps. So Russell here a little bit weaker overall price structure than the rest of the markets. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait for kind of the first 30 to 45 minutes here in the Russell and kind of see where we're trading, and then start drawing in some more levels for some long opportunities in there. It is not my preferred long today. S&Ps and Nasdaq are the two preferred I have. But as long as Russell can hold this 1593.20s, then I think it's good for longs. If and when it cracks that, then you got to stop looking at longs in the Russell. All right. Moving over to the Dow here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase all of these drawings. This 464 level actually ended up holding yesterday. We got confirmation closes above that. It was kind of interesting. And it looked really, really doom and gloom here, kind of down here towards 26,400s. Then we ended up getting almost a 200-point reversal off of those lows yesterday in the Dow. So Dow here, overnight highs 26,691s. So 26,691s are right up in here, and that got new highs in the Dow in the overnight session. And we actually just traded, looks like we traded a high of 26,690 here at about 8 o'clock this morning. So we're off those highs here by about 50 points or so now. And we're pulling down into kind of 26,647s at the moment, right in through here. Again, going to be the same thing in the Dow. I've got some upper levels here that I want to pay attention to. We've got some levels in here, 26,657s, 26,673s. And as long as we're able to find an entry again, somewhere north of the closing print from yesterday there, and even more importantly, the opening print from yesterday, 26,593. Then I like the Dow to the long side. The only problem that I have with the Dow here is it's continued to kind of do this thing um, every now and then where we just get a hard red bar off the open. So we got it here, we got it there, we got it a couple times back through here. I mean, this was a consistent theme for like a week running where we would just get hard bars right off the open here in the Dow. So I want to let that happen first, and wherever that ends up, kind of falling to or stopping at, and then allow the uptrend to start here intraday for the Dow. Now, again, we've got FOMC coming out at 2 o'clock, so we've got about an hour to an hour and a half window this morning. About 10:30, I think the market's going to start to slow down a lot and kind of position themselves and brace for FOMC. All right. I did not want to put that. All right, taking a look at gold here. So gold, again, still inside of this range that we're watching for here, 1290 10s to 1273 20s. I'm hoping today FOMC is going to give us some direction in this gold market. We got a really nice range here that we're trading in, and I would like to start taking advantage of some of this action in gold. I just need it to prove itself one way or the other. So again, keep an eye on these two levels coming into today for the FOMC statement with gold. Obviously, if they're doing anything with rates or whatever, then it's definitely going to shift this one way or the other here. So we should have a better, clearer picture of what gold wants to do moving forward in the month of May. By the way, it is May 1, after today with FOMC. And again, gold does close at 1:30. So you're going to notice that you're going to have to go to the extended session for this contract here when FOMC comes out at 2 o'clock. All right. Moving over to crude oil. So crude oil has had a pretty decent range in the overnight session here, about 80 cents, 75, 80 cents here. And we had the nice gap up yesterday. Again, mentioned this yesterday morning. If we were just going to kind of continue this trend to the downside, we could get a nice little pullback on the day. That ends up happening. Finally found some footing, tried to rally, and then essentially just went sideways here. So gold or crude oil here is going to be kind of a non-event for me today. And I want to make sure, I'll go back to Forex Factory. Did I skip? Yeah, so we do have crude oil inventories today at 10:30. I must have skipped those. But as long as we can hold 63, 66s here on any type of pullbacks here, now that we're above it, then I think we can get a nice long opportunity in crude. I think it's kind of proven where it's at. Again, trying to regain that 63, 66s here and let this thing kind of work higher. So pullbacks after the crude oil announcement, as long as they hold 63, 66s, I think we're good. If we crack the 63, 66s, I think we go to 62, 64s off of the crude oil announcement there. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to in there. All right. That's what I got for this morning. Again, I think the first hour to hour and a half, we're going to have some opportunities today. After that, I think it's going to be kind of a slower market waiting for the FOMC here. So I do want to be patient at the open, but I also want to kind of get in and get out today, and then kind of hold my bullets for the FOMC announcement. But if you guys have questions, tickers you want me to take a look at, positions you have on that you want an opinion on, go ahead and type those into the chat, and I'll take a look at those for you here. We got a couple more minutes for the morning trade plan. We'll kill that at about 9:25 here this morning, and come back for the morning power hour with everyone in the MLT Discord. Sorry, I've had this like kind of like coughing thing. I'm assuming maybe allergies or something like that here recently, so trying to get that figured out, but gotta keep some coffee or something close by. Let's see, Nasdaq here. So taking a look at the visualizer here this morning, I'm not seeing really anything standing out. I mean, the biggest thing I'm seeing from yesterday here was obviously Goog. That is the reddest thing I see on my charts. Shopify, interesting. Nice move yesterday out of Shopify. It's a nice gap up and run there. I'm also keeping Twitter on a watch here. So Twitter had this nice gap up here last Tuesday and then pulled back a bit and then has just been going sideways. We've regained the hourly uptrend here at this point. And Twitter's gapping up a little bit this morning. I saw 40.02 there, so gapping up about 10 cents here. But I do kind of like the pattern that we've got going here in Twitter, so going to be paying attention to that. Nice. Picked up crude 63.38. Nice trade, Ozzy. Up almost $1,000 this morning so far. I like that. I like that. It's always a good day when you got $1,000 in profits before the bell. You can't go wrong with that. Did you hold that through the pullback to 08s? It's a nice looking trade. 63.38. Yeah, I like that. All right, guys. 9:22 here. If there's no symbols you want me to take a look at, I'll go ahead and cut the morning stream, and I'll be back in just a few moments before the bell to trade live with you guys for the first hour to hour and a half in the MLT Discord. If you guys are not in the MLT Discord and you want to join the Discord, it's going to be that first link in the description below that says how to join the MLT Discord. And I'll see you guys in there. Also, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed the content. And I will see you guys in the MLT Discord or back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. as well. Take care. Trade safe today, guys, and good luck.